The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at theeppodcast.com.
By the time this episode airs, I will have already completed a trip going down the Hilton Head and getting out of the cold for a wedding. Before I went on the trip, though, I sat down with Frank Murray, who's sitting here with me right now. It's kind of the fun of podcasting, Frank. People are listening to this after I've already taken the trip. And this is weird for me, but it's also very important to me before I get on a plane to just kind of get out everything. Because I'm a nervous flyer. Like, I get on the plane and I am just like, is the will in order? Like, is everything set? The kids aren't getting very much. I'm a podcaster, but I mean, like, I just want to make sure it's all set up. Do you get nervous before travel?
I do, just to making sure we got everything in order. You know, like I'm gonna forget something.
Yeah.
And I got to go through that checklist to make sure I got it all. But still, I see however old I am, I still get that little bit of excitement when I get to go on a plane.
See, you get excitement. I get dread.
I get a little bit of excitement.
I'm better since the time that I took a trip to Australia in like 2017, end of 2017. I went on that trip, and you're over the ocean for like 18 hours. I mean, it's like like you wake up, you go to sleep, you wake up again. It's insane. You have 4 meals on top of the thing, and you realize that you're just a speck in the middle of like this ginormous ocean. And if you go down, they're never finding anything. There'll be no wreckage. It's lost forever. You're not going to wash up on an island and make friends with a volleyball. Like, you're really just going to die. And so, like, I'm a little better since then because it puts it into perspective if you take a 2-hour flight down to Savannah, Georgia, and go to Hilton Head for a wedding. But still, I get nervous when I do it.
Chris, I really hope you enjoy your trip and you enjoy the wedding, and remind me not to travel with you.
And it is the Halloween edition of the EP Podcast. At least that's the day this episode comes out. Remember, though, each and every episode of the EP Podcast is available on demand, so you can listen to it anytime you want to. Subscribe through Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. We're even on YouTube now. Very soon, I think I'm going to start putting video up there as well. You can see us down here as you belly on up to the 9-foot homemade oak bar and pour yourself a cold one. It's all brought to you by the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. Statement savings special going on right now of 2.5%. They're giving 3% on an 11-month CD, 3.25 on a 26-month CD. Stop in and see them in the iconic building at 95th and Pulaski. Free ATMs nationwide. Any ATM you use, if there's a fee, they put the money back in your account. That makes it free. Plus, they give a $300 bonus with qualifying activities. You need $100 to open up that account. No minimum monthly balance or monthly maintenance fees. Stop in again, 95th and Pulaski. Say hi. Tell them the EP Podcast sent you. Member FDIC. Frank Murray's here from the Evergreen Park Library. And the one thing I wanted to point out before we get into this interview, though, about the trip, and I'll give it away when the show is over, whether or not it worked.
Oh.
But I was told by family members that left today, because I'm going down, my sister's on the same plane with her husband tomorrow, and I got some cousins on there. I was told by family members that left today to go down on this vacation of how expensive drinks are now on planes. Like, they let you take your mask off, but once they start serving drinks, they've upped the price now. They're burying you. It was like a $23 Bloody Mary, my father said, on Southwest.
$23?
On Southwest Airlines.
What?
That's crazy, right? So I was like, well, I'm going to put some bourbon inside of one of those little shampoo carry-ons in my backpack that I bring on the plane. So I'm wondering whether or not I'm going to get away with it. I'll let you know by the end of the show if I got away with it.
Let's find out. Good
luck.
luck.
I was able to smuggle bourbon on the plane. Like a bum, because I'm not paying $23 for my drink.
Here we go, TSA. Test. Here's your test.
All right, here we go.
Chris Lanuti.
Here we go. Let's see if we'll let you know. Frank Murray's here from the Evergreen Park Library, though, and beginning of the month, here we are. It's the Halloween show. I'm sure there's some spooky music playing throughout the show. Who knows how I'll put it together, but tell me, first of all, trick-or-treating, the day this episode comes out, you got kids. Mm-hmm. What is your trick-or-treating plan as a dad? How do you handle it? You stick around the house, you dress up, you don't dress up, you hand out candy, you walk around with a wagon and a cooler. What are you doing?
We always hit up the neighborhood. You know, we walk around. We live at the end of a block, so we hardly get anybody to come all the way down to us.
Right.
So we're the people that leave a bowl of candy out and say,
you're those
please
people.
take 3. And then
do you do anything like we're watching you, or
No,
don't take more than one or else? I've seen that before.
no, we haven't got that crazy
Okay.
yet. Like last year, we literally came back and I think literally there might have been 3 pieces missing from the bowl of candy that we put out. We put out a pretty big bowl.
That's disappointing.
It just shows you
Nobody
we don't get a lot of
you.
traffic.
Like, you didn't even get robbed by that kid at the end who was like, hey, there's all kinds of candy. It's the end of the night. I'm taking the whole bowl.
Yeah, and our neighbors, they even set out like a table with a bunch of bags full of candy.
And people can see the table and they don't come down.
People see the table and they're coming over to us at the end of the night. Hey, here, give these to the kids. These are all the extras.
That's just lame. People don't come down to the end of the block.
We try to walk around. The kids trying to get me to dress up. We were going to do something along the lines of the Addams Family. I was going as Gomez.
So
Addams.
you do the cutesy whole family dresses as a theme.
We have
thing?
never done it, but we always
Okay.
talk about doing it and then never do it.
Yeah, I'm not into it. I don't want to have anything to do with it at all. Like everybody, even when I carve my pumpkins, like everybody else like gets out those fancy carving things and they make like the crazy designs. I just make mine Charlie Brown style, baby. Okay, it's just the crooked little smile and the like triangles for the eyes, and I'm done. And it always looks better than most of the pumpkins that they spent like hours on.
Yeah, my 6-year-old is dead set on being Spider-Man, so he's not going to participate in that. We had my daughter Nora. She was going to be Wednesday.
I think you could pull off an Ant-Man.
Now
You're kind of like Paul. You look a little like Paul Rudd. If you took that
gotta
beard
shave the
off,
beard.
you could Paul Rudd it. I think you could pull it off.
Paul Rudd.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, you could
okay.
be Paul Rudd and Ant-Man.
All right.
I think you could pull that
and
off.
Ant-Man.
Yeah,
All right, there
be
we go.
Ant-Man. I think that's what you should do.
The other one that I've been getting, and I might do over the weekend, is it's the soccer show, Chris. I'm blanking on it. It's on Apple TV.
Oh, with the Jason Sudeikis show.
Yes, the Jason
I know which one it is.
There's a bearded coach.
Right,
I need
right.
a whistle and
Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso.
Ted
yes.
Lasso. Okay, so you think you look like that guy?
Well, that's not what I.
Oh no,
that's
beard.
what people are saying.
You look
Beard,
like
the beard guy.
You
Yeah,
look
the
like beard on
the beard
Ted
coach.
Lasso.
Yes.
Yeah, you could pull that off. You could be beard. All you need, and it's an easy one too. Just put on a tracksuit and wear a whistle.
Yeah.
You got a
And-
tracksuit. You got a bunch of them. I would imagine in
Exactly.
the closet. Yeah.
Tracksuit and then a whistle, and then we're set.
You're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Put
All
some
right.
glasses on. Boom. Don't forget to stop by the library too on Halloween. We got candy going on there, so people that are in the area, stop by, get some candy at the library. Be a good day. Good Halloween.
Is it good candy at the library?
It's only the best,
Are
Chris.
you using those library funds? Full candy bars?
You know what? I think we joked around about this last year. Now that we're having this conversation, and we put all those funds towards the little mini pieces of
Really?
candy.
Man,
Yes,
the
yes.
library needs more funding, folks. They can't give out full candy bars, or Frank is cheap. One or the other. All right. So what do we have going on here now in the month of November? Dive into it for me.
Dive into
Are
it.
we going
So-
Are we skipping over Thanksgiving like so many people do? And are you going to start the holidays way too early, or are you going to be handling November as you should?
We
That's
handle
what I'm
November
curious.
as we should,
All right.
Chris. And I have to say this. This has to be my segue, my lead in, because our earlier conversation was about you traveling and you get the nerves and you got to come to the library on Tuesday, November 15th at 6:30 p.m. and shake your sillies out. We have the award.
I'm not shaking my sillies out, Frank.
I thought you'd be all about it, Chris.
I wish this was a video podcast so you could see a grown man sit at my bar and shake his sillies out as he
shake the
says
sillies
the
out.
word, shake your sillies out.
We have award-winning in Chicagoland children's musician Jim Gill is going to be at the library Tuesday, November 15th at 6:30 p.m. He's amazing, energetic concert. He always brings the fun, and the kids love him. So you can definitely shake your wiggles out there, Chris.
All right. My wiggles or my sillies?
Both.
I
He
draw
does
the
both.
line at wiggles.
He
for
does
sure.
wiggles and sillies.
Wow.
Yes. He's got them all covered.
He's a multifaceted talent.
Does it all.
Okay. If instead of a treat, it was a trick that got played on you. If you're injured at work, reach out to the law offices of Parente and Norum. The insurance companies only care about one thing, their bottom line. They have a team that will do what it takes to fight for your rights. Experience, dedication, proven results it takes to get you the care and compensation you deserve. The law offices of Parente and Norum have recovered, get this, over $400 million for their injured clients and their loved ones. For a free case evaluation, call or text them today, 312-641-5926, or visit pninjurylaw.com. I have a real-life Southside ghost story for you before this episode ends, but Frank Murray from the EP Library has more to tell us about what's coming up
But in addition to that, and sticking along with the programs for children and kids, we have a mini field trip to see the Three Little Pigs at the Beverly Arts Center, Saturday, November 12th from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. It's going to be $8 per person. There's going to be a charge because we're taking a bus. And the performance is by the Chicago Kids Company.
That's nice. That's exciting. You know, I wonder if kids this generation are still into those classic things. Do you notice that when you have like the kids' story times and you have are they still really into the Three Little Pigs? Because there's so much entertainment. There's so many things they can watch. They can stream all these different things. Do they really still get interested with the Three Pigs?
Yeah, I think, and it's definitely something that you see like the parents hand down to the kids, you know, like,
the parents force them to.
Well, hey, I read this, or let me read this book to you, because that's what my parents did for me. You know, it's almost kind of like a little tradition. So that's pretty neat. And I know what you mean, though, because my kids are, what's on YouTube?
Disney had the cartoon
Right.
with the Three Little Pigs, right? Mm-hmm. Where like very funnily, like in a very funny way, they have like grandma and grandpa's portraits and they're turning to pork links in the cartoon on the wall and the big bad wolf is trying to get them. And you have to think that like that was far more mainstream back then because there weren't a lot of options and kids went gaga for it. But now I just wonder if they're into it. But you're telling me that there's still a need for the Three Little Pigs.
Absolutely. Don't be disappointed.
All right.
Letters to Santa.
It's too early.
It's starting.
Why?
November 21st through the 9th, December 9th.
Okay, fine. I'll take that.
You'll take that. Good.
You can put the letter together. If you can drop it off in December, it looks like I can wait until the 9th to drop it off. I'm fine with it.
Yep.
I think that if you have your kid writing a letter to Santa prior to Thanksgiving, kind of sus, as the kids say. I'm not a fan of it. But I'll accept it because I know how sometimes Santa needs to know early.
He needs to know, and some kids need to write a letter early because they might need to write a second letter because they might not have been behaving.
They might get rejected.
Time. You know, yeah.
Does that ever happen to you?
One of my
Santa
children
sends you back something and he basically says like rejected. It's like a big stamp on there, and you got to try again.
Yeah,
get references.
It's happened to multiple people in my family, not me. My middle brother, who will remain anonymous, and then my youngest child. But yes,
amazing.
November 21st through to December 9th, drop in. We'll have the supplies there for you. And then when your letter is complete, we'll put it in our little mailbox that's going straight to the North Pole.
Straight to the North Pole.
Straight to the North Pole.
Locked in a box. Nobody touches it until Santa gets it.
And Santa will respond. And then we were just talking about shows you can stream, right? We referenced Ted Lasso earlier.
I'm into the streaming now. I even got rid of my YouTube television. Like I went from having cable. Listen to this. I went from having cable, and a few years ago, I cut the cord, and I went to streaming, and I got really fast internet, and it's so much cheaper to do it that way, and then I went and got YouTube television. But now, I figured out that as long as White Sox season is not occurring, and they're terrible, and they're not in the playoffs, I can then cancel it, because there's nothing I need to watch on regular television. When football comes along, I use an antenna.
Yeah,
and I get a perfect picture. Like if you've never, folks, if you have been away from antenna TV, plug in an antenna to a newer flat screen smart TV. You can use even the old one you used to have on your dormitory TV 25 years ago, because now you don't even need an HD antenna. You can use the old one because the TVs are able to use that and convert the signal. And there is a ridiculous amount of free television out there. Like, it's insane the amount of stuff that you can get for free with an antenna. So I stream a couple of things and I got an antenna. And I save a ton of money doing it.
We might have to offer a streaming class at the library. Show people what they got to do to cut the cable.
Oh, yeah.
Cut the cable.
I would do it now at this point. There's absolutely no reason to keep it.
But my whole reference for that was, do you guys have Netflix? Do you watch Stranger Things?
I got the Netflix. I got the Stranger Things. I'm a big fan of the Stranger Things.
We're having a Stranger Things escape room on November 19th.
Is this an adult? Is this a kids thing? What is this?
It's kids, families, adults, whoever would like to participate. Groups of up to 5 people can work together to solve the Stranger Things puzzle to escape.
Okay.
And that's, again, going to be November 19th, and we have time slots, 20-minute time slots set up all throughout the day. So call in, visit the website, register, so you get your time slot and have some fun.
I ever tell you how I got spoiled on what was going on in Stranger Things in the last season? The latest season's been out for a while, folks, so it's not my fault if I give anything away here. But
hold on, spoiler alert.
No, I think I can tell it without even spoiling it. So my daughter comes home like 3 or 4 episodes in and tells me that a friend of hers over at Mother Macaulay, her godfather is on the show and gives me the guy's name, right? And says he's the big bad guy. So when I look him up and I see him in there, I'm like, this guy's not acting like he's the bad guy. And that was the twist. So I got spoiled because she knew he was going to become the big bad guy. But he doesn't look like he's the big bad guy when you first meet him. And so I'm sitting there the whole time going, did she just ruin the end of Stranger Things for me? And then she did. Like the big twist that happens, I already knew it because she got this thing passed to her from some girl at lunchtime or something like that. Ridiculous how you can get spoiled on things. Forget Twitter. Now I got to worry about my teenagers coming in and ruining shows for me.
Well, hey, that's what happens when you can just stream and binge watch all day long.
I'm big on it, man. I love the streaming. All right, what else we got?
So November is NaNoWriMo month. You know what NaNoWriMo is?
No, it sounds made up. And I think you do make up most of the things you say on this show. I don't even know if all the dates are right. I feel like Frank goes back and they yell at him. Like he walks in and they're like, you screwed up, Frank. I heard the podcast. You're wrong.
No, NaNoWriMo month is National Novel Writing Month.
They could have just called it that.
And that's what November is.
They could have just called it
but
that.
NaNoWriMo sounds cooler. And we get to have this great conversation.
No, they did. No,
yes.
It's not a great conversation either. All right.
So in honor of that, we've hosted a couple programs already in late October here, but you can still join in the fun here on Wednesdays, November 2nd, 16th, and 30th at 6:30 p.m. You can write in. Again, we need to do a vodcast so they can see my
You're doing hand quotes. You're doing air quotes right now, yeah.
Come right in. It gives you a quiet space to sit there and write out your story.
That was dumb.
And work with other writers.
Yeah, okay, fine.
And then also Sundays, November 6th and November 20th at 1 p.m. Okay. You have those writing sessions.
It took you, because of the ridiculous name that was come up with and the finger quotes, an extra 4 minutes to explain that. We're not done with Frank yet, and I have that ghost story coming up, but now it's time for your EP podcast, Word on the Street, brought to you by Cool Clouds Vapor Shop. Quitting smoking is hard, and Cool Clouds wants to offer you an alternative. Full Taster Bar, great CBD products, right here in Evergreen Park. See all they have to offer at coolcloudsvapor.com or stop over and see them. 3837 West 95th Street in Evergreen Park, and they are moving soon. They're going to be over by the Oberweis, 95th and Kedzie, after Thanksgiving, next to the brand new Spoken Vine. It's going to be the place on the south side for wine drinkers. The Evergreen Park Youth Department's doing a lot. Let's break it all down. The annual coat drive going on right now. It goes through November the 30th at the Community Center. Drop off a coat, 3450 West 97th Street, room 105, or drop it at Village Hall, 9418 South Kedzie. A new or clean, used condition coat. Make this winter a little warmer for someone in need. Open gym basketball going on right now. Friday night, 6 to 8 p.m., Northeast Elementary at 9058 South California. Grades 5 to 8, $5 entry fee. There is another American Academy of Pediatrics babysitter class coming up this Saturday, November the 5th, at the Community Center from 9 a.m. until 3:30. Ages 12 and older, only 10 students per class, and the cost is $55. And students grade 5 through high school are invited to join the youth department for a knocker ball party on November the 19th, 2 to 3 p.m. at Klein Park or Circle Park, whatever you call it. $20 fee includes an hour of knocker ball, treats, and hot cocoa. Waivers and fees due to the youth department by November the 10th. Any questions? 708-229-3377. And the Evergreen Park Fire Department and the Office of Citizen Services sponsoring a training for senior citizens and adults, CPR training, November the 2nd, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Free for Evergreen Park residents, $65 for those outside of the EP. There's also a first aid class on November the 9th from 6 to 9 p.m. Also free for EP residents, $70 for non-residents. I took CPR classes. It was part of my thing that I had to do being a 911 dispatcher. I'm going to tell you, when you need it, it's so comforting in that moment to know that you know what you're doing. I suggest everybody take those classes. That's your EP Podcast word on the street. If you have anything for us, reach out through the eppodcast.com, leave us a voicemail, send us a message. We're going to finish up with Frank Murray right now. He's brought to you by SidSauce.net, Evergreen Park small business, growing the peppers, making hot sauces, and delivering them for free to Evergreen Park residents and an area around EP. Basically, if you're listening to the EP Podcast, it's likely free delivery for you. It's the only hot sauce I use in my house, and there's so many different varieties. Check them all out at SidSauce.net. Let's wrap it up, Frank. Finish big and go.
The library's ever popular Holiday Portraits is taking place. It's actually the weekend before Thanksgiving because we had a scheduling conflict. So it's Saturday, November 19th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and Sunday, November 20th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
It's the same day as the escape room.
Yes. So you could do the escape room and then get your family portraits done.
So, but that's Saturday and Sunday is what you're telling me.
Saturday and Sunday.
19th and 20th.
Mm-hmm. And
All right. Is this one of those ones where you have to get reservations?
Yes, you have to register, and there is a $25 fee involved, too.
Okay, so I'm glad that you brought this up now. You're like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to bring it up again. Because the last time you brought it up, by the time that the episode aired, all the reservations were gone. So I'm glad you brought it up early because I just felt silly because I released the episode with you talking about it on the exact same day that the library posted on social media that they were out of reservation.
That's how popular this is.
So now this is a chance for EP Podcast listeners to dive in there early.
You guys get the first scoop.
And how do they register for the family portraits? For $25, that's a great deal.
Yep, $25.
They just go to the website?
Go to the website or give us a call, 708-422-8522.
All right.
And we'll get you signed up.
Get your family portrait. You do it by the fireplace in there, right?
That's right.
Really
we got the fireplaces all decorated beautifully for
I think
holidays.
I'm doing it. I'm going to register before by the time this episode airs, I will have registered.
There we go. We'll hold you to it, Chris, and the Lanuti family. And for those who have pets, too, we give a little special exemption for pets on Sunday from 9 a.m. to noon before we officially open to the public.
I could bring my dog in?
Mm-hmm. Just make
sure
want
him in there.
Business has happened before.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's very housebroken. He's the one dog I've ever had that I can leave for the entire day and come back, and he's perfectly fine. He's got complete self-control, that dog, okay? Except for when anybody walks by the front of the house, then he loses his mind. But otherwise, complete self-control. Frank Murray down here from the EP Library. And Frank, I didn't hear anything about turkeys, Thanksgiving, pilgrims, corn on the cob, stuffing, nothing. All right. I heard about some Halloween stuff. I heard about whatever that weird day was or month was with
NaNoWriMo.
Right, exactly. I can't even remember it. And then I heard all about Christmas portraits and everything else like that. You skipped over Thanksgiving.
I knew I was forgetting a month. I forgot about that.
Yeah, everybody skips over this. This is the forgotten holiday in these United States, Thanksgiving.
Chris, I got you covered. We got two programs, especially that I want to give a shout out to. We got pumpkin pie soap.
Okay.
Saturday, November 13th, 2 p.m.
Soap?
So
you're making soap? You're selling soap?
Make pumpkin pie scented soap just in time for Thanksgiving. So you get that little pumpkin smell as you're washing your hands, getting ready. Saturday, November 13th at 2 p.m.
That seems like a stretch as a Thanksgiving activity, but what else do you have?
Grades 3 through 5. And then we have, of course, it wouldn't be Thanksgiving without Charlie Brown.
Okay.
Right? Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, Tuesday, November 22nd at 6 p.m. Thanksgiving Day craft, snack on popcorn, and watch a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving.
I like the fact you're snacking on popcorn. If you remember the cartoon, that's what they have as their Thanksgiving meal because they're children and they can't make anything else.
Hey, you know what?
You nailed it, Frank.
We know something
right
at the library.
End,
we
you
know
come
something.
through and you redeem yourself on this appearance.
Every once in a while. Once in a while. And I just want to say a big thanks to you and to everyone else that came out to support the library for the micro marathon.
That was fun. I felt bad that I couldn't stay there any longer.
Oh, I felt like you were there for a while, man.
No, I was there for a little bit, but I had done the open. Here's what happened. I got completely knocked down with like this horrible illness, non-COVID, non-flu, non-RSV, or everything else that's trending right now. Like, watch out, there's a million diseases trying to get you, right? I got something that was none of those things, okay? Knocked me down like crazy, but I knew I wanted to get to the events that I had on that day. And I was better, but I was weak still. Like, I just didn't have the energy. And I went and did the Open Outcry Oktoberfest, and I was outside all day. And then I got to your thing, And I was like, my wife looked at me and she's like, you're a wreck. And I said, Frank is depending on me.
Frank, it's all depends on Chris.
Frank and the children of the library, it's for the children, are depending on me. I must continue to the next party and drink more beer. And I found
all
my way there.
Children. All for the children.
And I fought through for you, Frank.
Well, thank you for doing that, Chris. And thank you to everybody else who came out and attended. We had about 200 people there, and we raised over $7,000 for the Library Foundation. So thank you, everybody. It was extremely successful.
It was a big party.
It was wonderful.
Now,
it was
when
awesome.
I walked up, I was super happy for you. That was a great event. And I'm sure you're excited about that. And it proved something that I've said so many times, not only to you, but to your predecessor over at the library. People like alcohol have more events with alcohol at the library.
Alcohol and books.
Yeah.
There you go.
What else do you need? Switch to a new age of life at Hyatt Home Medical Equipment. It's located right here in Evergreen Park. There is no reason to send off mom or dad, grandma or grandpa, or even yourself to assisted living. They can now make the home into a smart home. They have the latest in diabetes control. If you use a CPAP machine for sleep apnea, they have the latest technology, and testing rooms are going to make sure you get the most out of your machine. You don't need to order things online. You don't need to go far away. You can get your answers right at Hyatt Home Medical Equipment. They work with your insurance, and every EP podcast listener is getting an additional discount. Check out all they have to offer at hhme.com or stop in and see them. Say hello today, 3518 West 95th Street in Evergreen Park. By this point in the show, I'm back from the trip. I survived. I use that term loosely because it's the first time that all of the Lanutis have gotten together since before the pandemic, and man, did we try to make up for all the missed drinking. I ache. I really do. A warning to all the young listeners out there, don't be like Uncle Chris. As for my contraband that I was talking about with Frank Murray, I kind of lucked out. They were using a bomb-sniffing dog as I got on the plane at Midway, and we didn't even have to take off our shoes or pull anything out of our bags because the machines weren't working. They just didn't want to say it. I want to end this episode with a snippet from Southside Pod. If you want to hear the entire thing, I suggest you check it out. It's on demand anywhere podcasts can be found, and always at southsidepod.com. We cover everything on the South Side. It's basically the EP podcast for a bigger area. Neil Gibbons is on the show that's on demand right now, the most recent one. He hunts ghosts. He gives ghost tours. He showed me pictures that I can't explain, and he talked about the legend of Resurrection Mary here on the South Side.
So I always usually leave Resurrection Mary for our last story of the tour, because that's what a lot of people come out for. They want to know about Resurrection Mary.
Right.
I'm going to tell you right here and now that there is a spirit that is known as Resurrection Mary that is real.
Okay.
This is real. I'll explain why. The origin story of Resurrection Mary, it's either could be a folklore story, and you'd have to come on the bus, because I'd have to get a little more detail, but I am going to tell you this. There are too many people who who work in professional fields that have come back and eyewitnessed this type of haunting. There's a thing that's called ley lines. Ley lines lay underneath the earth that give off supernatural activity. Back in the day, this was all Native American area, Potawatomi tribe, right?
Right.
And it was believed that Archer Avenue was a ley line. And what happens is, due to environment or vibrations or whatever, this ley line will activate, which causes supernatural activity to happen. Now, my belief is one of the girls, and we talked about 3 of the girls on our tours, about who is possibly this spirit. And I have to lean more towards a girl by the name of Mary Bercovey, who died in 1934.
Okay.
It's the reason why is because there was a story of a Jerry Palis in 1938 who talks about a story that he actually met her at Liberty Hall. It was a dance hall. And for that moment, he fell in love. He was in love with this girl. Blonde hair, beautiful looking, white dress. He all of a sudden fell in love with this girl. And what was weird about the story is he asked her, "Can I take you home?" And she said yes.
Okay.
And they got in the car, and she said that she lived at, I think it was 4711 Damon Avenue, okay? Now, Liberty Hall was not in the direction of Archer Avenue, but she made it that she wanted to go towards Archer Avenue for whatever reason.
Okay.
And as they drove down Archer Avenue, he didn't really care because for that, like I said,
he's in love with her.
He's in love, man.
Right.
Yeah. So he starts driving down that road, and all of a sudden she says, "Stop right here." He stops right there in front of the gates. She gets out. She goes, "Now I must leave you." Dissipates into or leaves.
Like disappears?
Disappears into.
She ghosted him on the date.
Yes,
That's what you're telling me?
Yes, ghosted him. Yes, as the new kids say, ghosted. So
This is the first instance of being ghosted. That's
Right.
what this is.
Right, exactly. And so she disappears into the gates. Now, if you or I saw something like this, we'd be like, "What? What was that, man?"
Right.
Right. Not Mr. Jerry Palis. The next day, he goes to that address of 4711 Damon Avenue
To look for.
to look for her.
Right.
He knocks on the
isn't
door.
taking no for an answer.
Yeah.
Right.
He knocks on the door and he says, "Hey, I'd like to talk to Mary." She gave the name Mary to him. All of a sudden, Ma opens the door and she goes, "Mary's been dead for about 5 years." He goes, No.
All right.
I was driving with her yesterday at the Liberty Hall, dance hall. We were having a good time.
Now, he didn't get his wallet stolen, did he?
No,
this
not
isn't
that I know of.
Is it possible he was just creepy and Mom told him, like, she's dead while she's in the back room? Go and get that creepo away from me?
Get that
I mean, there's a
creepo.
possibility here.
Yeah, but it was Mary Berkovey, the girl that I told you died in 1934.
Okay.
That was her residence.
That was her residence,
and that
and
was
it's
her
confirmed
mother.
she was already dead.
That was her mother.
Okay.
That was her mother.
Resurrection Mary.
And
The first person to ever ghost a dude
You're right.
who fell in love with her.
Right. He
Yeah.
fell in love, man. He
Yeah.
fell in that moment in time, just like that. And so he looked over her shoulder and saw the picture of her and said, "That's the girl. That's the girl I was dancing with." And she said, I'm telling you, my daughter's been dead about 4 or 5 years. And he kept insisting that's the girl I was with. That story, the reason why the Jerry Palis story is because it's such a detailed story about our Resurrection Mary dance halls, and that she's passed away, but she's still roaming to this day at certain dance halls. And he picks her up, and she has to be dropped off at Resurrection Cemetery. It's an odd story, man.
If you're a single dude and you're up for an adventure, I mean, this is a unique girl right here. Start in some dance halls around Archer Avenue. That's
You
what you're telling
never
me.
ever know, man.
Get out there. You never know.
You never
You
know.
never know.
Another show is wrapped up, another show's in the books, another show is wrapped up, and then by the looks it's gonna be a good one, and we'll see you next week. And the nudist basement, and the nudist basement. Another show is wrapped up, another show is wrapped up, another show is wrapped up, and it's in the books. Another show is wrapped up, another show is wrapped up, and by the looks, it's gonna be a good one. Nudist basement, broadcast basement, the nudist basement, the broad basement. Slancha.
The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at the eppodcast.com.